So anyway, I'm just gonna start this. It's super early. Um, but I just really I just got back from fishing with Out West with Chris. He's on the live stream. Chris, I got lost in Napa. I got super lost actually. I just got home and it was a 2.5 hour drive instead of an hour drive for me to get home. I don't know what happened. Like I got turned around and everything was kind of all mixed up. And so it really kind of just sucked getting home. I almost ran out of gas. I ran into traffic. I had to go to the office to get my snowball. And if you don't know what a snowball, this is a snowball. It's a higher end microphone, so I sound possibly a little better. And it was just really, really bad getting home. And to top it off, my dog. So my wife is gone, and my kid is with my in-laws. So I kind of had this free night. So I was super excited to like chill out. But I made it home, and my dog was home, by himself. So I had to walk him right when I got home. So I am here. So live stream is starting early, and it is what it is. So really want to just talk. I will do a Q&A at the end if anybody has questions. There's been a couple of questions that have been asked over and over again. And but let's just talk and kind of jump right into this. And I just mentioned my dog, and we'll talk about my kayak future. And please definitely in the chat ask questions about anything you like. But so I think for a good solid 6 months now, I've been hemming and hawing about getting a pedal kayak. And it was last weekend when I was out on the water that I made a full decision to not get a pedal kayak, at least not this year. And the reason why is because of my dog. And I have a 10-year-old, 10 and a half year old red-nosed pit bull. He's got some mix in it. He's a big dog, but he's not the healthiest dog. He never has been. He was really abused as a puppy, and I've had him for 10 years, and he's the greatest thing in the world. I currently own an SUV, and he can get in and out of that car to go to the vet and to get his, anything that he wants to do, go to the park or anything. And there's a little ramp that I can get him up on. So he's not doing too great. I hope I got another 2 years with him. I probably would say I've got another year. So I'm not going to sell my car, I guess is like kind of what I'm trying to get at here. And so if I'm not going to sell my car and get a pickup truck, I'm not going to get a pedal kayak. And I'm not going to settle for a pedal kayak that I don't want. And what I really want is the Jackson Coosa FD. So that thing weighs about 120 pounds. And I'm also not going to get a trailer. And because of all these factors is the main reason why I'm going to stay in a paddle kayak. Now, my kayak right now is a feel-free lure, 11 and a half. I can car top it, no problem. The Coosa FD is 120 pounds. We're pretty stripped down. It's still 120 pounds. I can't car top that. My roof rack can't handle that. My Yakima rack can't handle that. So for the time being, I'm going to stop talking about getting a pedal kayak. As long as it's not super windy, I don't have a problem being in a paddle kayak. There were a couple other factors that came into play as well. One of the things that I realized last weekend as well was that when I'm fishing in my kayak, I sometimes sit Indian style, and it's really comfortable, and the lure seat is fantastic as well. So I like the kayak as much as I bitch about it and want to pedal kayak. I'm not going to pull the trigger, and I'm going to stop talking about it. But what I am going to do is I am going to invest in my current kayak, and I'll list off what I'm going to do because the process has already started. So first things first, I got better camera angles, better ways for you guys to view me on the kayak, because we all know nobody wanted to see the crotch shot. I got rid of that. I added a third camera, which is the over the head camera shot. And I also have access to a gimbal now. So I'm really trying to kind of like, step up my video game, and I think an additional camera angle and the better angles while I'm fishing will help that in the editing process and give me more to edit with. Second thing I am going to do is I'm going to upgrade my fish finder. I already have done that. It is in the works. It is on the way. In case you're wondering, I got a Lowrance Hook 2, the 5-inch, and I did not get the triple shot, and I didn't get the triple shot. I only got the double shot, and the reason why I got the double shot, not the triple shot, is in order to have proper side scan, the transducer has to go below the hull of the boat. And with the lure and the sonar pod, you would have to make an additional attachment and put it down even lower to get past that. And that kind of defeats the purpose of what the sonar pod is for, where you can actually run your kayak up on a beach right now and not have to worry about the transducer hitting. And so I didn't want to take my sonar pod every time that I was getting ready to get in and out of the boat and beach the boat. So, fish finder, new camera angles. Third thing is I'm going to invest in a paddle. Now, I know a lot of you aren't in Northern California, but we have an incredible kayak shop, Headwaters Kayak, based in Lodi, California. Dan is the proprietary of that place. And a couple of nights ago, he did a live stream on Facebook, and he talked about paddles. And I realized I'm still paddling with the Feel Free paddle that was given to me with the kayak, and it's got a lot of play. I think it's probably, I don't know what material it's made out of, but I'm going to step up to maybe a carbon paddle, maybe not a full carbon paddle. And that's the third thing that I'm doing to upgrade up my kayak game, so to speak. And then last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of an inflatable PFD. Now I have an Onyx right now. I've had Mustangs for a long time, and it's automatic. So if you're not familiar, there's a typical PFD where, you know, it's filled with foam or some sort of buoyant material. The technology these days are really great, but basically, like what I wear now is what a bass boater wears. And if you fall into the water, there's a little sensor and it inflates. Well, I've been doing a lot of thinking, and there's been a couple instances on the Delta this year where boats have gotten too close coming around a bend. And if you're unconscious or if that system fails, you really can't pull that. You can't pull that lever. So I'm going to upgrade my PFD as well. So I'm going to look at the chat real quick. Say what's up to everybody. Chris, I know you're here. If you missed the very beginning, Chris and I just got back from fishing. We were out in Napa Valley. We went to Lake Hennessy, and I think we had a good day. I had a lot of fun until the wind kicked up. But always a good time hanging out with Chris from Out West with Chris. Check out his channel if you don't already subscribe to him. I don't know what your problem is. Yakman, Ontario, how you doing? Fishing hobby, what's up, man? Mad Duck, what's up? Kyle, what's up? Bunch of people, awesome. Working Class Outdoors, thanks for stopping by. So, Kyle, you got a question? Go ahead, ask it, and I'll keep talking. So, that's kind of where my situation is right now. So, no more talk of a pedal kayak on this channel until 2019, or I become wealthy overnight. I don't know if I'll become wealthy overnight, but you never know. I don't play the lottery and I don't gamble. So anyway, what else can I talk about? This is a lot easier when you have someone else to kind of play off of, but want to talk to real quickly. The recent giveaway, you know, it was the third attempt to really kind of do something like that. And somebody finally claimed the giveaway. So that giveaway, I'll close it out, but it's really been done. What's up, Mike? But you know, that's pretty much where everything is right now. And the current affair of this channel is, this channel was started not to be a fishing channel, but it's kind of evolved into a fishing channel. And I don't have a problem with that, but there's a lot of things that I do that I just don't have the time to. And also my health, I'm losing cartilage in my hip joint and I'm losing cartilage in my knees. It's a hereditary thing. It's not that big of a deal. I can either go get injections and deal with it. But my hip has been giving me a lot of problems. And I'm telling you all that because I happen to be a very avid hiker. And I also happen to be a very avid skier. And you don't see any of that on this channel. And I haven't been able to go this year because of my hip and my knee. And I'm not an old man, but my body is sure as hell acting like it. It's probably from all the sports I did as a kid. So sponsorships. Everybody knows that I got picked up by Biwa, which has been an absolutely fantastic experience. I do feel that is a true sponsorship in the sense of, let's see, in the sense of that, like, it's a small amount of people that really, really are incredible fishermen. I'm honored to be part of that group. It's not like some of the other sponsorships, and I'll even name one, and they'll probably drop me after seeing this, but it's not like a Woo Tungsten sponsorship where everybody in their planet is sponsored by Woo, and they're basically, that's how they're doing their marketing. We're their marketing team. The BWA sponsorship or the pro staff or whatever you want to call it, or the partnership. These guys have it together, and they make great baits. And I'll put a link after the stream is over. You can get 10% off the BWA baits. Pretty much check them out. I was throwing them today at Lake Hennessy. Their stick bait, oh my God, I can't remember it. This is a horrible live stream because I can't remember my sponsor stick bait. The stick bait that they make, I can't remember off the top of my head. If anybody knows it, please shout it out. But it's an awesome stick bait. It's going to replace all my Senkos and all my other stick baits. So take a look at BWA baits. Who else is in here? Fishing hobby. We're all close to being old man. It's just the wear and tear that I put on my body as a younger man playing athletics just really has taken its toll. I've, not to get too deep into my past, but I have 2 minor tears in my ACL, one from soccer and one from skiing. No, I've never had surgery on them. I was given the option not to have surgery. I've broken every single bone in my hands and my toes and my feet twice. So really, really hurts. Alistair Christie, it's called the Prism, and I appreciate you for telling me that. The BWA stick bait is the Prism. Give it a look. Use my code. It's Yankee Tanker 10 at BWA Baits. So, anybody got any questions? If not, this is going to be a short live stream. Mad Duck, do I view that Pebbles heavy when I have my fill free? Mad Duck, what are you in now? What paddle and what kayak are you in now? Oh, Kyle. Kyle Spencer asked me a question in the chat. Kyle wants me to tell people what I do for a living. So what I do for a living. So I will try to keep this as short as possible. I was the owner and proprietor of a human resources consulting company. And what I did for a living was did hiring strategy and retention strategy for advertising companies that specifically were in digital advertising. I spent a lot of time in New York City. And when I was in New York City, it's really where I got into advertising. And in 2011 is when I started 2011 is when I started a company called Endemic. Now, oddly enough, it was just me. I was kind of doing a lot of business in New York, a lot of business in LA. And I was very good at what I do, and I still am. In November of last year, though, I found somebody and they found me, and we merged companies. So now I'm a senior partner at an RPO, and that RPO specifically works in media. So it's kind of cool. I didn't have to move. I didn't have to do anything. And I was able to kind of continue to work with the people that I work with. And I also got to add a bunch of employees underneath me that are based in New York and in Seattle. And it's been great. So that's what I do in a nutshell. If you really, really want to know details, you can email me. Questions, burning questions. Chris tells me there's more questions. I don't even know. Mud Duck. So you have my kayak that I want, which is the Kusa FD. 7 people watching. This is awesome. So I am probably not going to be on here for 40 minutes because these things never really go as planned, right? I mean, it goes better with when there's 2 people to kind of play off and there's an actual live conversation, and that's cool. I just kind of wanted to do a live stream because, to be honest with you, I had a free night. I had the house to myself, and it would be kind of fun for me to do. But like I said, Chris and I actually went fishing today. We caught some fish, so I've got a video to edit. So if no one's going to ask any questions, what's up, Chaos? Ask me a damn question. See, Chris doesn't ask me questions because Chris and I are on the water like every other week together. So Chris knows enough about my personal life. Trying to think who. Oh, I will answer a question that hasn't been asked in here that's been asked about 6 or 7 times. Where did Yankee Tanker Outdoors come from? It's a nickname, and it's not a flattering nickname. So I grew up in Georgia, and in high school moved to New York, in not New York City, but and then went to college back in the South. And I've got some really great friends down there that I pretty much call brothers. And they used to always call me Yankee because I lived in New York for that period of time. And so they were always like, Yankee, Yankee, Yankee. Now, in 2012, I went out and got my captain's license. And because I had access to a boat all the time, and I went out and got my captain's license in Florida while I was living in Florida. And none of my boys could go out fishing with me one day. And my buddy Christian basically said, I texted him, I say, I'm going out fishing. He's like, oh crap, Yankee Tanker's going out fishing. And tank, you tank when you go fishing. He called me a tanker because I'm a big guy. And so next thing I know, my nickname is Yankee Tanker. And one of the things that when I started this channel was that I kind of just wanted to kind of keep it fun and light. And I don't know if you figured this out yet, but I really don't take myself seriously. Some people think that I am. I do kind of come off obnoxious, I guess, but I'm really not. I'm kind of actually a nice person. But all in stride, right? What's my opinion on mono versus braid? I recently switched to braid, and I'm finding it pretty awesome to use. So it really depends. I mean, so mono and braid, they both float, right? Mono's got tons of stretch. It has less durability, so you have to change it out more. I don't use mono on anything, to be honest with you. All of my reels are backed, and I wouldn't even say backed. They're spooled up 3/4 of the way with any kind of test braid, whatever I've got laying around. And then the last maybe 200 yards, maybe 3 or 4 casts worth are fluorocarbon. And when it comes to line, I'm pretty simple. I go out once a year and I buy the Cigar 12-pound Invisex, and that's all I use is 12-pound, except on my drop shot. And that's not totally true because when I'm fishing the California Delta, I drop shot with 12-pound test fluorocarbon. And the only time I downsize my line is like when Chris and I went today. Chris and I went to a lake today. I downsized my drop shot line, and only my drop shot line, to 8-pound, and that's pretty much it. So mono's great. I think a long time ago, long time ago, when I would fish, I would use mono because you could see the actual line move. And when you're throwing like a weightless Senko, you can throw it out there and just kind of let it, sit there, and you can watch the top of the water and see if your line's moving and see if you have a fish. Braid, I swear by braid. Where we fish in California is, pretty much you need braid to fish it is pretty much what I'm going to say. Are you going to start fishing yak bass tournaments? Now I do. The Yak bass tournaments, yeah. So I do fish them. I fished a couple of them last year. My living situation, my home situation is such where I get one day out of the weekend to go fishing. It used to be different when I was running my own company. I could go during the week, but for right now, I pick and choose the Yakka Bass tournaments I'm going to do. I'll do the Delta ones because they're close to the house. I didn't do the KBF one at Comanche that just happened, and that wasn't really because of anything except I didn't want to spend over $110 to go fish. I don't do well at Comanche either. I'm not going to be like so Greg Blanchard. Let's just use his channel for example. He has tons of great non-tournament like content, but he loves doing tournaments. I don't get a kick out of it, to be honest with you. I think some of the guys take it too seriously. I'd rather go out like I did today or like I've done a handful of times and just fish with friends and have a good time, or just go fishing when I can go fishing, which is sometimes by myself. So I'll do a couple of the Yakka Bass tournaments this year. I don't know if Mike Ayers is still on this, but Mike and I have been talking about me actually doing pre-water and post-water interviews and kayak overviews for specifically the Yakka Bass. So you'll see me there, and I'll probably be interviewing, but I might not fish them, competitively. I like a lot of the guys in Yakka Bass. A lot of the guys are great. I've met a lot of great friends out of Yakka Bass. So I probably will do a couple. It's a short answer. You consider using the Cruise Mad Duck. So the Cruise FD, yes. And I almost pulled the trigger on it. And the reason why I didn't was because the back tank well cannot fit a black pack unless you take that metal gear track off, and then there's no rod holders. You have to install all of those. I'm going to wait, I'm just going to wait to get that Kusa FD. Chris, I like, Chris and I talk about this. Like Chris just said, I like small groups or fishing alone. Somebody the other day on Facebook posted this thing about boat tournaments versus kayak tournaments, and which do you prefer? And I do both. I don't do them as frequently as I used to, but I actually prefer kayak tournaments if I'm going to fish a tournament. But I like fishing out of a kayak because I don't have to wait for somebody else to show up, and I can go when I want to go. And that's the main reason why I started fishing out of a kayak, was because I didn't have the space to buy a new bass boat or put a new bass boat. And so I got a kayak instead, and I absolutely love it. And what I was going to say is that I have a very, very high propensity of hating most people that I meet. I think it's probably what I do for a living. I get lied to on a day-to-day basis, but I just don't get along with a lot of people. I don't like bullshit, and I don't like people who just, I don't know, I guess who think a different way. That's me becoming an old man and being stubborn, and just that's that. So Chris gave me money. And yes, on this channel, I do tell you how I really feel. And I just think that in everything that's kind of gone on, and this will kind of, I guess I can close with this. Everything that went on with the sub for sub, and when I said it a couple of videos ago about like people doing sub for sub and, give me a break, and I stopped subbing. I didn't stop subbing. I became more selective. And there's a couple of channels, and there's one channel that if you guys are not watching this channel, they only have 1,000 subscribers, but they put out the best content, hands down. It's called Another Fishing Show. And these two guys live in Minnesota or something like that. And I swear to God, they're professional cameramen. The amount of detail that goes into that channel, the amount of commentary that goes into it. They do voiceovers. They do incredible cuts. It's funny as hell. That's a channel that I encourage everybody to take a look at. I can say that because I've already plugged Al Wesso Chris numerous times. But a lot of the channels that I sub to, I wasn't trying to say that they were all bad. I just think, what YouTube is really about when you're starting out is putting in that effort. And whether that be kind of, I'll give you an example. For me, like, I'm putting in effort by trying to upload somewhat interesting content, but I'm also putting in effort, in my opinion, by getting new camera angles and kind of trying to, bring you guys along for more of a ride instead of just the catches. I think if you look at some of my earlier videos, and I actually just recently did this, uh, went back and looked at all of my old fishing videos, and there's been definitely an evolution. And I probably didn't hit a stride as far as being my personality coming out a little bit more in the videos until recently. And one of the things that I do notice when I am fishing, I'm having a bad day, I'll start off with a bunch of energy in the beginning of the day. And if I'm having a bad day fishing, when I close out that video, I'm like, oh my God. And it's draining and it's exhausting. And I'm going to try to get away from that. We all have, things that go on in our life. Hey, Dustin, what's going on? Dustin and Chris happen to be two really good friends of mine. They know more about my personal life than probably, obviously, anybody on this live stream. But we all go through things in our personal life. And if I choose to get on this screen and make some sort of an attempt to entertain you, I should try to put that out of my head. And I think in a couple of videos ago, not a couple of videos, a couple of months ago, there were a lot of things that were weighing me down, and I think it showed up actually in my videos. And so going back to like putting effort in and getting that stride, I really am going to hit that stride. Chris and I were talking about this a couple of days ago. I think there's a pressure that I put on myself that when I go out fishing, if I don't catch something, that the video is actually gonna suck. And Kyle, who might still be on this live stream, mentioned to me a while back, he's just like, why aren't you fishing? And I'm like, hey, man, I am. I got skunked twice. And he's like, well, you should take us along for the ride still. And then Chris and I were talking about this. Like, I think we think that we have to have like 9-10 pound catches. And if you haven't seen Chris's video, out west of Chris's video on social media and how it's impacting the outdoor communities, you should go watch that because there's a lot of valid points in it, because it's talking about people seeing things on screen, specifically younger individuals, and they're thinking that if I don't catch a 10-pound bass, that I shouldn't post it or I shouldn't do a video. And that's not really true, because I tell myself all the time, like, catching a 4-pound bass where I live in Northern California should be like every occurrence. Like every time we go out, the fisheries that I fish, there should be a 4-pound bass in my boat every single time I go out, and that doesn't happen. But when you look at some of the guys that fish in this area through the other YouTube pages and some of the stuff, they're just pulling out like pig after pig after pig after pig. And then even myself, I kind of get in my head, I'm like, you know what? Like, I think maybe I shouldn't post this video, but then I think we need to start taking people along for the ride, because there might be somebody out there that is broke their leg or is sick that can't get out, and this is their thing to kind of get that release or get that visceral experience. And I think that's what we provide for people. This is a hallmark moment brought to you by Depends. Anyway, so I think that I'm going to start showing more of the bad stuff, and I'm going to try to keep to 2 uploads a day. Anybody else got any more questions? Okay. You guys have been fantastic. I'd like to thank all of you. All right, well, I'm going to end it. 6 people watching. I'm going to work. When are you fishing next? Dustin, I am probably going to fish as much as possible on Sundays. I'm going to fish on Sundays. I will text you, brother. And maybe you can get out one time. Mad Duck, it is like selling yourself to your channel rather than, yeah, it's, I know what you're trying to say. It's, I do YouTube for fun, but I also like quality stuff. So I don't know. It's a quandary. All right, guys. I need to eat. I need to get the kayak off the top of my car because I barely made it to this live stream. And then I started it early. Thanks for watching these things. I am going to work on the video that Chris and I were just out fishing. I'm probably going to upload it tonight or maybe tomorrow morning. So thanks for watching. Share this, not this particular one, but share a video. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.